Welcome to episode 2. In this episode, I'm going to show you some boring stuff that kind of has to be done when you're working with a vehicle that's been in the barn for let's just throw out there 50 years. And that's cleaning up a lot of the rust on the frame and panels, splitting off wiring that you want to use, as well as painting it and making it look pretty much as nice as you can without doing a full restoration or even sandblasting the panels. And then we're gonna weld in some mounts so that we can use the adapter plates and original like Gen 1, Gen 2 small block Chevy mounts on the newer Gen 3 and Gen 4 small block Chevs, the LS. Let's just call it the LS as that's covered in so many styles of that engine, even though it's an LM7 5.3. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the music of this really sped up, boring. It might be boring for some, might not be boring for some, but it's kind of the step that has to happen if you want it to look somewhat nice before you stab the engine in. So here we go.
Fatality.
Okay, so I want to show you we got this all prepped and ready to stab the engine in. The only thing that we're going to do is just clean up the firewall a little bit, and maybe I think I want to do a little bit on that shift fork a little bit just to make it work nicer before the engine's in. And you can see that the mounts are all welded in. Maybe try to get a bit of a lay down close up on here. I don't have my light here, so it kind of sucks, but the plates are welded in. It's gusseted on the backside, and it's gonna fit first time, I hope. And so we're gonna show you getting it in here now and bolt it up, and then we can work on the supplemental systems. Like, we can put the wiring harness on, we can do the fuel system, drop the tank in the back, drop a fuel pump in there. I gotta wait on some fittings to come, and we can do the exhaust, which I'm planning to use stock exhaust manifolds, and I had looked at it and it looks like it's gonna fit, but we'll find out when we actually get there. They're ugly and that sort of, but this is, every engine comes with these manifolds, so why not just use them? So I think I might header wrap them. They're cast, so they shouldn't rust out and have holes in them, but there's pros and cons to both of that. But I think I might do that just so that they look somewhat nice. I have tried barbecue paint, and that has determined that it gets too hot and it burns it off. So I tried that on the S10, and even though I haven't driven it a whole lot, that kind of proves not to work. As well as the cooling system, the heater core and the heater valve in those two spots right there, the big and the small. I have to order those, and I don't necessarily have money to do that at this point in time. So I'm trying to work with what I have until I can put some money into some parts. So exhaust pipe, manifolds, I have all that, so I can build all that stuff. We do not have a radiator. We might have a water pump that'll work with the car intake, as well as the alternator bracket. I might buy that, I might fab it, I'm not sure, but that's kind of the stuff that you can do after the engine's in. So let's get it in there first, and then we'll go from there. motor's in, bolted in. We're ready to do the supplementals. I've started on doing the steering. The stock arm hits the oil pan, so there had to be a modification. And I was contemplating doing it one way, and I wasn't really satisfied or really wanted to do it that way. So I ended up finding that I can just re-drill some holes in the frame and move the idler arm about 2 to 3 inches forward. The steering geometry changes a little, so I'm not entirely sure how that'll turn out, but everything still stays in the same plane as far as suspension travels. So I hope it's gonna work out. If not, we'll probably have to make up a different steering arm or see what kind of other options there are. But at least now the motor is in, it's bolted in, it's finalized. And now we can start working on, like I said, the supplemental. So wire and harness, drive shaft, exhaust, cooling, all those things. So I'm gonna finish the steering and probably work at the harness and interface that so it's all done. Oh, and fuel system. Gonna drop the tank and use a stock fuel pump from this engine. It was made for it, why not just keep using it? Show you one thing that makes this whole swap easier, and that is this regulator filter combination. And I already have AN fittings. They're also, what works is JIC, which is a 37-degree flare. So this solves everything, and it makes it a one hose up to the front, which is what this guy has. So hopefully this, I've never used this before. I've seen lots of people use them, and in a stock application, should work just fine. So that's gonna be in the videos to come. Thank you very much for checking this out, and if you continue to follow us in everything that we do with this car, my RX-7, and there's going to be a whole ton of more stuff that I put on here. So subscribe down below and keep on keeping track of us, because the more that people that come in, the better it becomes. So stay tuned.